I am Diomedes, son of Tydeus and Dapile, a king of Argos and a hero among the Achaeans. Born into a legacy of valor and tragedy, I have lived my life under the gaze of the gods and on the blood-stained fields of battle. My deeds were destined to be immortalized, but my journey was one of sweat, loss, and unyielding resolve. Come, let me tell you of my life in the detail it deserves. From the moment I was born, my path was shaped by my father's shadow. Tydeus, a warrior unmatched in ferocity, had forged his name as one of the seven against Thebes, a coalition of Greek kings who sought to reclaim the throne of Thebes for Polynices. My father's courage was legendary, but his life ended in blood and failure during that campaign. The gods themselves seemed to intervene against the seven, and Tydeus perished, betrayed by a curse of hubris when Athena turned away from him in his final moments. I grew up hearing tales of his valor and tragic demise. My mother, Dapile, ensured that his memory was a guiding force in my life. Though I inherited his courage, I resolved to temper it with the wisdom he lacked. I swore to honor his name by succeeding where he and his comrades had failed. As a boy in Argos, I was trained in the arts of war by the finest warriors of the region. My hands were taught the sword, my arms the spear, and my eyes the bow. Yet my training extended beyond the battlefield. I learned governance, diplomacy, and strategy, skills that would make me a king not just of Argos, but of the hearts of my people. By the time I was barely into manhood, I was prepared to lead armies. Yet leadership was more than command. It was responsibility. I saw the plight of the common people, those who toiled and bled for their rulers. I vowed to protect them, to make Argos a land of honor and fairness. The chance to prove myself came with the call to arms for the Epigoni, the sons of the seven against Thebes. Our mission was clear: to avenge our fathers and conquer Thebes, succeeding where they had failed. Alongside Alcmaeon, Thersander, and others, I marched to war. Thebes was a city fortified by its impenetrable walls and protected by the curse that had doomed our fathers. Yet, we brought with us the determination of youth and a divine favor our predecessors lacked. I fought at the forefront, slaying warriors who stood against us. When the Thebans surrendered, I stood amid the ruins of the city and felt both pride and sorrow. The gods had granted us victory, but the cost was great. The blood of fathers and sons stained the earth. Though Thebes fell, it became clear to me that war is never without cost, and vengeance is but a hollow feast. The story of my life would have been incomplete without the Trojan War. When Helen, the wife of Menelaus, was taken by Paris of Troy, the kings of Greece united under the banner of Agamemnon. I, too, answered the call, for my loyalty to the Achaean cause and the pursuit of glory demanded it. I led 80 ships to Troy, second only to the mighty fleets of Agamemnon and Achilles. My Argive warriors, disciplined and fierce, were among the finest in the coalition. When we landed on Trojan soil, the beach itself became a battlefield, and I proved myself among the greatest of the Greek champions. The war lasted 10 long years, and in that time, I achieved deeds that will be sung of for eternity. Among the Achaeans, I was second only to Achilles in strength and valor, yet I possessed a discipline and humility that set me apart. One of my finest moments came when Athena, the goddess of wisdom, chose to grant me divine favor. During one fierce battle, she infused me with a light of clarity and strength, giving me the ability to see the gods themselves on the battlefield. It was then that I achieved the unthinkable. I wounded the gods. I first faced Aphrodite, who had intervened to save her son, Aeneas. As she tried to carry him from the battlefield, I pursued her, and with my spear, I struck her hand. She cried out in pain and fled to Olympus. Later, I confronted Ares, the god of war, and with Athena's aid, I pierced his side with my spear, forcing him to retreat. These acts defied mortal limits, and they solidified my place among the mightiest of heroes. I was not only a warrior, but also a strategist. One of my most cunning feats was the night raid with Odysseus. Under the cover of darkness, we infiltrated the Trojan camp and killed Dolan, a spy sent to gather information on the Achaeans. From him, we learned the location of the Thracian king, Rhesus, who had brought reinforcements to Troy. We crept into the Thracian camp and slaughtered Rhesus and his warriors as they slept, stealing their magnificent horses. This act not only weakened Troy's allies, but also inspired the Achaean forces. The war culminated in the Trojan horse, a plan devised by Odysseus. Hidden within the wooden structure, I waited alongside the bravest of our warriors. When the Trojans, thinking it a gift, brought the horse into their city, we emerged under the cover of night and opened the gates for the Achaean army. I fought through the streets of Troy, cutting down Trojan warriors and ensuring that the city burned. Yet, amid the flames, I felt the weight of destruction. Victory had come, but at a terrible cost. After Troy, my journey home was fraught with peril. The gods, angered by the desecration of their temples during the sack of Troy, unleashed storms upon the Achaeans. Many of my comrades perished, but I eventually returned to Argos. Yet, my homecoming was not as I had envisioned. The years of war had changed much, and my place in Argos became uncertain. Some say I left my homeland and journeyed to Italy, founding cities and continuing my legacy far from the land of my birth. As I recount my life, I see a tapestry woven with triumphs and sorrows. I was a warrior who challenged both mortals and gods, a king who fought for honor and justice. My name is remembered not just for my strength, but for my wisdom, my loyalty, and my courage. I am Diomedes, son of Tydeus, a hero whose story will endure as long as men tell tales of valor. My deeds on the fields of Troy, and my defiance of the gods themselves, ensure that my legacy will never fade.